Welcome to Partners in Crisis. I'm your therapy animal, Dr. Fuzz Comfortable. Yes. And Francine. Clark may be a nurse. Can you tell us about your journey to dysfunction junction?
And we are functioning fine. Better than fine. And we did.
Notice how she answered first and taps her foot when she's a disconnected affectation of her emotionally insecure partner. Now, unfortunately, Karen has chosen to see Joey's smile as a sign of aggression.
This is a regular work assignment of failure and tireless split child in house. The dream team.
Welcome to Z Cineplex, the home of entertainment, creativity, and cinematic excitement. Our channel is dedicated to bringing viewers a rich collection of engaging content that celebrates the world of movies, storytelling, and visual entertainment. Whether you're a passionate film enthusiast, someone who enjoys discovering new cinematic experiences, or simply looking for high-quality entertainment, Z Cineplex is designed to be your go-to destination. We strive to create content that is informative, enjoyable, and engaging for audiences of all ages, offering a unique blend of movie-related features, entertainment updates, insightful discussions, creative videos, and much more. Every upload is crafted with attention to quality, ensuring that our viewers receive an enjoyable experience that keeps them coming back for more. At Z Cineplex, we believe that cinema is more than just watching films. It's about experiencing emotions, exploring stories, appreciating creativity, and connecting with people who share the same passion for entertainment. Our mission is to build a vibrant community where movie lovers and entertainment enthusiasts can discover exciting content, share their opinions, and stay connected with the latest trends in the entertainment industry. We are committed to consistently improving our content, embracing new ideas, and delivering videos that entertain, inform, and inspire our growing audience. Whether you're here for movie highlights, entertainment discussions, reviews, cinematic moments, or fresh creative content, Z Cineplex promises an enjoyable journey filled with excitement, quality, and unforgettable entertainment. Join our community by subscribing, turning on notifications, and becoming part of the Z Cineplex family as we continue to explore the fascinating world of cinema and entertainment together. Thank you for your support, and welcome to Z Cineplex, wherever video brings entertainment to life. Zootopia 2, titled Zootopia to win some international markets, is a 2025 American animated buddy cop comedy film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios and serves as the long-awaited sequel to the critically acclaimed 2016 film Zootopia. The film is directed by Jared Bush and Byron Howard, with Bush also writing the screenplay. Returning to reprise their beloved roles are Jennifer Goodwin as Officer Judy Hopps, Jason Bateman as Officer Nick Wilde, Shakira as Gazelle, Idris Elba as Chief Bogo, Alan Tudyk as Duke Weaselton, Nate Torrance as Officer Claw Ozer, Don Lake as Stu Hopps, Bonnie Hunt as Bonnie Hopps, and Jenny Slate as Assistant Mayor Bellwether. Joining the ensemble cast are Huey Kwan, Fortune Feimster, Andy Samberg, David Strathairn, Patrick Warburton, Kinta Brunson, and Danny Trejo, who introduced several new characters to the expanding world of Zootopia. Set after the events of the first film, Zootopia 2 follows officers Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde as they take on their most dangerous and personal investigation yet. Their latest mission centers on tracking down Gary the Snake, a mysterious pit viper whose arrival in Zootopia sparks a citywide conspiracy. As the investigation unfolds, Judy and Nick find themselves falsely accused of crimes they did not commit and become fugitives while attempting to uncover the truth. Forced to operate outside the law, the duo races across the diverse districts of Zootopia, encountering new allies, dangerous adversaries, and long-hidden secrets that threaten the harmony between predator and prey. Along the way, they must rely on their friendship, detective skills, and unwavering trust in one another to expose the real mastermind behind the conspiracy and restore their reputations before the city descends into chaos. The film premiered at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, on November 13, 2025, before receiving its theatrical release in the United States on November 26, 2025. Upon release, Zootopia 2 was met with widespread critical acclaim, with reviewers praising its engaging story, emotional depth, humor, animation, voice performances, and timely themes. It became a major global box office success, grossing approximately $1.870 billion worldwide, making it the second highest-grossing animated film of all time, the ninth highest-grossing film in cinematic history, and the second highest-grossing film of 2025. The film also received numerous awards and nominations throughout the awards season. It won the BAFTA Award for Best Animated Feature at the 79th British Academy Film Awards and earned nominations for Best Animated Feature at the 83rd Golden Globe Awards, the 31st Critics' Choice Awards, and the 98th Academy Awards, while also receiving a Golden Globe nomination for Cinematic and Box Office Achievement, cementing its status as one of the year's most successful and celebrated animated films. 1 week after officially becoming partners in the Zootopia Police Department, ZPD, officers Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde quickly established themselves as one of the city's most capable investigative teams. However, their drastically different personalities and policing styles begin creating tension. Judy's unwavering optimism, strict adherence to procedure, and relentless determination frequently clash with Nick's relaxed attitude, improvisational methods, and sarcastic sense of humor. Their constant disagreements begin affecting their performance in the field, prompting Chief Bogo to issue an ultimatum: unless they learn to work together and resolve their growing conflicts, he will permanently dissolve their partnership. Despite the warning, Judy and Nick continue investigating a sophisticated smuggling operation. During a raid, Judy discovers an unusual piece of shed snakeskin among the confiscated contraband. Since snakes have been absent from Zootopia for nearly a century following their mysterious disappearance from public life, that discovery immediately captures her attention. Believing the evidence is connected to a much larger mystery, Judy theorizes that the snake responsible may attempt to infiltrate the upcoming Zootopia Gala, an extravagant celebration commemorating the 100th anniversary of Zootopia. The event is hosted by influential industrialist Milton Linksley, grandson of the city's celebrated founder, Ebenezer Linksley. Assigned undercover at the gala, Judy and Nick mingle with Zootopia's political elite while secretly searching for any sign of the mysterious snake. During the event, Judy befriends Paubert Linksley, Milton's youngest son, who has long been considered the outcast and disappointment of the wealthy Linksley family. Before the officers can uncover any significant leads, the celebration is violently interrupted when a hooded intruder crashes into the ballroom. Revealing himself to be a pit viper, the mysterious reptile shocks every guest in attendance before abducting Milton. Using Milton's eye to bypass a sophisticated biometric security system, the Viper unlocks a reinforced glass vault containing an ancient journal documenting the original construction of Zootopia's revolutionary weather wall system, the engineering marvel responsible for maintaining the city's diverse climate districts. The theft sends the gala into chaos as security forces scramble to contain the situation. Judy eventually corners the pit viper inside the estate and demands an explanation. Rather than resisting, the snake insists that the stolen journal contains historical evidence capable of clearing his family's name after generations of false accusations. Before Judy can fully understand his story, Milton intervenes and desperately orders that both the journal and the Viper be destroyed to protect his family's legacy. Refusing to participate in what she believes is a cover-up, Judy defies Milton's orders, triggering a confrontation that accidentally ignites a fire inside the mansion. As the blaze spreads, ZPD Captain Hogbottom arrives with reinforcements, but confusion erupts when the panicked pit viper unintentionally bites Chief Bogo during the struggle. Taking advantage of the chaos, the powerful Linksley family manipulates the evidence to frame Judy and Nick for the attack, forcing the disgraced officers to flee with the journal while an unidentified masked motorcyclist secretly rescues the escaping Viper. Behind closed doors, Milton instructs the recently elected Mayor Byron, whose political rise was secretly financed by the Linksleys, to launch an aggressive citywide manhunt for Judy, Nick, and the mysterious Snake. Now branded as fugitives, Judy and Nick abandon official police channels and pursue the investigation alone. Their search leads them to Nibbles Maplestick, an eccentric conspiracy theorist beaver who has spent years researching Zootopia's forgotten history. Guided by Nibbles, the pair travel to Marsh Market, a hidden settlement concealed beneath the city where reptiles have secretly survived in exile for generations. There they meet Z Superscript OS, a wise basilisk who reveals the truth behind reptilian disappearance from mainstream society. Long ago, reptiles lived peacefully alongside mammals in their own thriving district, but their homeland was intentionally buried during the construction of Tundra Town as part of an effort to erase them from history. With plans now underway to expand Tundra Town even further, Marsh Market faces complete destruction. Before Judy and Nick can fully process the revelation, Hogbottom and the ZPD locate the underground refuge, forcing everyone to scatter. During the escape, the Pit Viper unexpectedly reappears, recovers the stolen journal, and disappears through an underwater passage. Pursuing their only remaining lead, Judy and Nick climb toward an abandoned mountain lodge overlooking the weather walls, but the exhausting journey reignites their frustrations. Their argument escalates until Judy's treasured carrot-shaped recorder panel, one of the symbols of their partnership, is accidentally broken, leaving both emotionally devastated. Inside the abandoned lodge, Judy uncovers additional records proving that reptiles were once respected citizens who played an essential role in building the original city. Before she and Nick can escape with the evidence, the ZPD surrounds the lodge. Nick is captured, while Judy narrowly avoids arrest after being rescued by the Pit Viper and his mysterious motorcyclist accomplice, who is revealed to be Pobert. The Snake finally introduces himself as Gary D. Snake and reveals the astonishing truth behind the conspiracy. Gary explains that his great-grandmother, Agnes D. Snake, was the brilliant engineer who originally designed the weather wall system and was, in fact, the true founder of Zootopia. According to Gary, Ebenezer Linksley stole Agnes' engineering designs, claimed them as his own, and framed her for murdering his loyal tortoise housekeeper after she attempted to prevent him from destroying the original patent proving Agnes' ownership. The fabricated murder scandal permanently turned public opinion against reptiles, leading to their exile and allowing the Linksley family to rewrite history while claiming credit for creating Zootopia. Meanwhile, Nibblessa, who has also been arrested, helps Nick escape from prison. Although the chaotic breakout unintentionally releases numerous dangerous criminals throughout the city, reuniting with Judy, Gary, and Nibbles near the massive weather wall separating the desert district from Tundra Town, the group deduces that Agnes' original patent must be hidden beneath the long-lost reptile district. By activating an abandoned clock tower integrated into the weather wall system, they uncover the buried remains of Agnes' home. However, their triumph is short-lived when Pobert betrays everyone. Obsessed with finally earning his family's approval, he reveals that he never intended to expose the truth and instead plans to destroy the patent forever. Pobert injects Judy with deadly snake venom, throws Gary into the freezing snow, steals the only vial of antivenom, and escapes toward Agnes' house. Nick catches up to him and engages Pobert in a desperate fight across the weather wall. During the struggle, Nick manages to recover the antivenom and throws it to Gary, who administers it just in time to save Judy's life. The near-tragic experience finally allows Judy and Nick to confront their fears, acknowledge their mistakes, and fully reconcile both as partners and as closest friends. Together with Gary and Nibbles, Judy and Nick pursue the increasingly unstable Pobert into the ruins of the hidden reptile district. At the same time, Mayor Windancer turns against the corrupt Linksleys after discovering the truth and defeats the remaining members of the family attempting to conceal the evidence. Deep within Agnes' preserved home, Judy and Nick recover the original weather wall patent, conclusively proving Agnes D. Snake's authorship and exposing the Linksleys' century-long conspiracy. Pobert makes one final attempt to destroy the document, but Captain Hogbottom arrives and incapacitates him before he can succeed. With the patent preserved and the truth finally revealed, Milton Linksley and the rest of his family are arrested for their crimes. Agnes D. Snake is officially recognized as the true founder of Zootopia. Judy and Nick are fully exonerated, and Chief Bogo recovers from the effects of the snakebite. Plans to expand Tundra Town into Marsh Market are permanently cancelled. The frozen reptile district is restored and renamed Reptile Ravine, and reptiles are welcomed back into Zootopia as equal citizens for the first time in generations. Gary is joyfully reunited with his long-separated family, while Nick presents Judy with her carefully repaired carrot recorder pen as a symbol of their renewed partnership and trust. Wasting no time, the reunited officers immediately begin tracking down the escaped prisoners inadvertently released during Nick's jailbreak, starting with their former adversary, Don Bellwether. Sometime after these events, Judy relaxes at home and replays a recording stored in her repaired carrot pen in which Nick privately confesses that he loves her. Before she can reflect on the heartfelt message, her noisy neighbors interrupt by arguing over whether she should stop replaying the recording. After Judy leaves her apartment, an unseen bird silently flies past her open window, leaving behind a single mysterious feather on the windowsill, subtly hinting at a new mystery and setting the stage for a future adventure. Jennifer Goodwin reprises her role as Judy Hopps, the courageous, optimistic, and determined rabbit who made history as the first rabbit to join the Zootopia Police Department, ZPD. Now an established police officer, Judy continues striving to prove herself while navigating the challenges of working alongside her partner, Nick Wilde. Jason Bateman also returns as Nick Wilde, the witty and resourceful Red Fox whose transformation from a streetwise con artist into Zootopia's first Fox police officer has made him an invaluable member of the ZPD. Their partnership remains at the emotional center of the film as they investigate a conspiracy that threatens the city. Joining the franchise is Q-Week-1 as Gary D. Snake, a charismatic pit viper who initially appears to be a dangerous fugitive but is eventually revealed to be an innocent descendant of Zootopia's forgotten true founder. Fortune Feimster voices Nibbles Maplestick, an eccentric beaver podcaster and conspiracy theorist whose extensive knowledge of hidden urban legends and forgotten history proves invaluable to Judy and Nick's investigation. Andy Samberg portrays Paubert Linksley, an awkward Canada lynx who is the youngest and least respected member of the influential Linksley family. Although initially appearing sympathetic and eager to help Judy and Nick, Paubert ultimately reveals his desperate ambition to earn his family's approval, leading to his betrayal. David Strathairn voices Milton Linksley, the ruthless and manipulative patriarch of the wealthy Linksley dynasty and father of Paubert, Catrick, and Kitty. As one of the city's most powerful oligarchs, Milton orchestrates a century-long cover-up to preserve his family's legacy and maintain political influence. Returning from the original film, Idris Elba voices Chief Bogo, the stern but respected African buffalo who serves as chief of the Zootopia Police Department and continues to oversee Judy and Nick despite questioning their unconventional investigative methods. International pop superstar Shakira reprises her role as Gazelle, the globally famous Thompson's Gazelle singer and cultural icon of Zootopia, who once again performs during the city's largest public celebration. Patrick Warburton joins the cast as Brian Windanser, a Clydesdale horse who transitioned from being a celebrated action film actor into becoming the newly elected mayor of Zootopia following Leo Dortlanhart's departure. Initially operating under the influence of the Linksley family, Windanser ultimately chooses justice over corruption. Kinta Brunson voices Dr. Fuzby, an empathetic Waka psychotherapist responsible for conducting mandatory partner therapy sessions for ZPD officers, where Judy and Nick attempt to resolve the tensions affecting their partnership. Danny Trejo portrays Zatilda Superscript OS, a wise-plumed basilisk who serves as a respected elder within the hidden reptilian community living beneath Marsh Market and reveals the forgotten history of reptiles in Zootopia. Several familiar members of the ZPD also return. Nate Torrance reprises his role as Benjamin Clauser, the cheerful and endlessly enthusiastic cheetah who works as the department's front desk receptionist. Bonnie Hunt and Don Lake return as Bonnie and Stu Hopps, Judy's supportive parents, while Michelle Gomez joins the franchise as Captain Hagbottom, a formidable razorback boar commanding the elite tactical urban security keepers, TUSK, division of the ZPD. David Fane voices Truffler, Hogbottom's loyal Razorback partner. Professional wrestling stars Joe Roman Reigns and OAE and Phil CM Punk Brooks portray Gene Z. Braxton and Gene Zabrowski, a Plains zebra and zebra-painted Samurai horse who form the energetic police duo known throughout the department as the Zebraos. Stephanie Beatrice and Wilmer Valderrama reprise their roles as hippopotamus officers Bloats and Higgins, respectively, with Valderrama replacing Raymond Despercy as Higgins' voice. Veteran French actor Jean Reno returns in the French-language version to reprise both Bach Aaron, a marker police officer, and Ch. Tilda Diaresis, a bighorn sheep officer who serves as Bach Aaron's partner. Longtime Disney voice actor Alan Tudyk once again voices Duke Weaselton, the opportunistic least weasel thief from the original film, while also portraying several additional supporting characters, including a French raccoon dog chef supervising the Zootopia Gala's catering services, Mold Cole, a green iguana bartender at the Reptile Hangout, and an unseen news reporter. Macaulay Culkin voices Cadric Linksley, Milton's ambitious eldest son, while Brenda Song portrays Kitty Linksley, Milton's sharp-witted and equally ambitious daughter. John Leguizamo joins the franchise as Anthony Snootley, a giant anteater smuggler pursued by Judy and Nick during one of the film's major action sequences. In a posthumous performance, Tiny Lister reprises his fan-favorite role as Finnick, Nick Wilde's former Fennec Fox partner in crime who specializes in posing as a baby bunny to deceive victims. Lister, who passed away in 2020, appears through previously unused voice recordings from the original film. Maurice LaMarche returns as Mr. Big, the powerful Arctic shrew crime boss who controls organized crime in Tundra Town, while Leah Latham reprises her role as Frou-Frou, Mr. Big's daughter and the mother of Judy's goddaughter, Little Judith, who was again voiced by Cicely Strong. Raymond Despercy returns as Flash Slothmore, the famously slow-moving three-toed sloth employed at the Department of Mammal Vehicles, DMV, and one of Nick's closest friends. Jenny Slate reprises her role as Dawn Bellwether, that disgraced former deputy mayor and mastermind behind the conspiracy in the first film, who returns during the film's closing scenes as one of the escaped fugitives pursued by Judy and Nick. Additional supporting roles include Josh Dallas as the pig florist whose vehicle is commandeered by Judy and Nick during a high-speed pursuit. Ali I. Crablow as the recorded voice embedded within Gary's anti-venom injector. Hewitt Bush as Armpit Pete, a leopard gecko. Music producer Blake Slatkin as Ballet Clamkin, a sheep visiting a barbershop. Celebrity chef Nick DiGiovanni as Slick Digigani, a desert iguana bartender. Tig Notaro as Big Tig, a grizzly bear inmate. Sasha P. Quatilda copyright Mebrek and Milan P. Quatilda copyright Mebrek as Judy's younger brothers Binky and Binkston Hops. Bob Iger as weather reporter Bob Tiger. Daniel V. Grawl as Buzz Shedley, an Agama patron at the Reptile Hangout. Amanda Gorman as television reporter. Deirdre Bambino singer-songwriter. Ed Sheeran as a fictional sheep named Ed Sheeran. Yvette Nicole Brown in dual roles as an emergency medical technician Otter and the Baroness, a wealthy grizzly gala guest. Tiffany Lonsdale as the unseen Zootopia Gala announcer. George Pinocchio as CNN correspondent George Pernicolio and directors Byron Howard and Jared Bush, who reprise several recurring supporting characters, including Judy's argumentative neighbors Bucky Antlerson and Pronkorix Antlerson, as well as German-accented Godesberth Old Hufsmers and Yawan Forthrajan Zijan Katilda Currency Say, and ZPD officer Joel. The film also features June Squibb as Judy's grandmother. Graham Rachel House as imprisoned giraffe. Gramataler Melissa G. Shepard as a knife-wielding mouse prisoner. Mario Lopez as CNN Wolf reporter. Denny Holliff. Michael J. Fox as Michael J., a Red Fox inmate. Mark Rhino Smith reprising Officer McCorn, the Black Rhinoceros police officer. Josh Gad as Grumpy ZPD information technology specialist. Paul Mulder. Brand Fabian Raleigh and Peter Mansbridge as CNN anchors Fabian Growley and Peter Moosbridge. Conservationalist Robert Irwin as airport receptionist Robert Furwin, a koala. Anakin Onai Rose as the announcer of the television game show Squeal of Fortune. Child journalist Talon Biggs as Mouse. Socialite Talon Smalls. Comedian Mae Martin as imprisoned golden hamster Tuffy Cheeksworth and Wayne Johnson as Zeke, a tiny tic-tac antelope who becomes trapped inside a parade tuba during one of the film's comedic sequences. Development of Zootopia 2 began shortly after the enormous commercial and critical success of Zootopia, 2016. In June 2016, directors Byron Howard and Rich Moore acknowledged that discussions regarding a potential sequel had already begun, expressing enthusiasm for revisiting the expansive world of Zootopia and exploring new stories involving officers Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Although Walt Disney Animation Studios spent several years focusing on other original and sequel projects, speculation surrounding a follow-up remained constant due to the first film's enduring popularity. On February 8, 2023, during the Walt Disney Company's first quarter earnings call, Chief Executive Officer Bob Iger officially confirmed that a sequel was actively in development, marking the project's first formal announcement. Shortly afterward, original screenwriter Jared Bush publicly confirmed that he had begun work on the screenplay, signaling that production was moving beyond the conceptual stage. Following the announcement, lead cast members Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman shared their hopes for the sequel during separate interviews. Goodwin expressed interest in reversing the emotional dynamic established in the original film by allowing Judy Hopps to experience a crisis of confidence, while Nick Wilde became the optimistic partner, encouraging her to continue believing in the ideals of Zootopia. Bateman similarly envisioned the sequel focusing on Judy and Nick operating as fully established police officers, solving crimes together while continuing to develop their partnership both professionally and personally. Disney officially unveiled the project's theatrical release plans on February 7, 2024, when Bob Iger announced that the sequel would be titled Zootopia 2 and scheduled for release on November 26, 2025. Production accelerated soon afterward, and on April 15, 2024, Jennifer Goodwin revealed through her Instagram account that she had begun recording Judy Hopps' dialogue, effectively confirming that voice recording sessions were underway. Several months later, during the D23 Expo held on August 9, 2024, Walt Disney Animation Studios presented the first extensive preview of the film. The presentation revealed that reptiles would play a central role in the sequel's story, significantly expanding the franchise's world-building beyond the mammalian society depicted in the original film. Academy Award-winning actor Ke Quan was officially introduced as the voice of Gary the Snake, a mysterious pit viper pursued by Judy and Nick throughout the film. Convention attendees were also shown an extended sequence featuring the protagonists investigating Gary's whereabouts inside Marsh Market, a previously unseen district secretly inhabited by reptiles. The footage highlighted the sequel's blend of detective storytelling, action, comedy, and environmental world-building while demonstrating the continued visual evolution of Walt Disney Animation Studios' computer animation technology. The day following the D23 presentation, Jared Bush announced through social media that comedian Fortune Feimster had joined the cast as Nibbles Maplestick, an eccentric beaver podcaster and conspiracy theorist who ultimately becomes one of Judy and Nick's most important allies during their investigation. Later that month, Disney confirmed significant changes to the creative leadership behind the project. Bush was officially named the film's sole screenwriter and director, while Academy Award-winning producer Whit Marino joined the production as producer. On September 19, 2024, Bush was appointed Chief Creative Officer of Walt Disney Animation Studios following Jennifer Lee's decision to step down from the position in order to focus on directing Frozen 3. Despite his new executive responsibilities, Bush confirmed the following day that original Zootopia creator Byron Howard had returned to co-direct the sequel, reuniting the filmmaking team responsible for the first film. Howard's involvement reassured audiences that the sequel would remain faithful to the tone, characters, and themes that had defined the original while allowing Bush to expand the narrative into more ambitious territory. Marketing for the film continued throughout 2025 with several high-profile industry presentations revealing additional story details and casting announcements. During CinemaCon on April 3, 2025, Disney showcased new footage introducing Dr. Fuzby, a psychotherapist assigned to conduct mandatory partnership counseling sessions for Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, with Emmy Award-winning actress Kinta Brunson announced as the character's voice performer at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival in June 2025. The studio confirmed that acclaimed French actor Jean Reno had joined the production and would reprise his dual police officer roles for the French-language version, while Maurice LaMarche was officially announced to be returning as the voice of Arctic true crime boss Mr. Big. Additional casting announcements followed throughout the summer and early autumn of 2025. In August, Macaulay Culkin, Brenda Song, Patrick Warburton, and Wilmer Valderrama were revealed as members of the expanding ensemble cast. The following month, Andy Samberg, David Strathairn, and Danny Trejo were likewise announced, each portraying major new characters that significantly shaped the sequel's central mystery and historical conspiracy involving the Linksley family and the hidden reptilian community. One of the film's most emotional production decisions involved the return of Finnick, Nick Wilde's former Fennec Fox partner. Following the death of actor Tommy "Tiny" Lister Jr. in 2020, the filmmakers chose to preserve the character by incorporating previously unused dialogue recordings made during production of the original Zootopia. Disney sought and received the blessing of Lister's family before restoring the archived performances, allowing Finnick to make a brief but meaningful appearance in the sequel. In recognition of Lister's contribution to both films, Zootopia 2 was dedicated to his memory in the closing credits. During post-production, the creative team also refined several sequences to improve pacing and accessibility. Jared Bush later revealed that an early version of one prison scene was an almost shot-for-shot parody of the famous prison encounter from The Silence of the Lambs. Lasting approximately 4 minutes, the sequence closely mirrored the structure and dialogue of the 1991 psychological thriller. After internal screenings, however, the filmmakers concluded that many younger audience members would not recognize the reference and that the extended homage slowed the film's momentum, leading to the sequence being substantially shortened before the final theatrical release. Following the film's release, Jared Bush disclosed that the story remained surprisingly fluid well into 2025 despite the production nearing completion. He explained that important narrative revisions continued during the final year of development as the filmmakers refined character arcs, emotional beats, and story structure. Among the significant late-stage additions were the abandoned honeymoon lodge setting, which became the location where Judy and Nick's partnership reached its emotional breaking point, and the symbolic scene in which Judy's carrot-shaped recorder pen is accidentally broken during their argument. Bush noted that these additions ultimately strengthened the emotional core of the film by reinforcing the evolving relationships between the two protagonists while emphasizing the themes of trust, reconciliation, and forgiveness that defined the sequel's conclusion. Music once again played a significant role in Zootopia 2, combining an original orchestral score with new contemporary songs that reflected the film's themes of unity, hope, and the diverse culture of Zootopia. On November 8, 2024, during Disney's D23 Brazil presentation, international music superstar Shakira confirmed that she would reprise her role as Gazelle, Zootopia's world-famous pop icon. During the presentation, Shakira revealed that Gazelle would debut an entirely new stage costume and perform a brand new original song created specifically for the sequel. She also announced that she had collaborated with English singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran on writing the track, generating considerable anticipation among fans. As production progressed, it was further revealed that acclaimed producer and songwriter Blake Slatkin had joined Shakira and Sheeran as a co-writer and producer, bringing together an internationally recognized songwriting team for the film's signature musical number. In September 2025, Walt Disney Records officially announced that Gazelle's new song would be titled Zoo, written by Shakira, Ed Sheeran, and Blake Slatkin. The energetic pop anthem serves as the film's principal vocal theme and celebrates diversity, coexistence, and the vibrant spirit of Zootopia. The song received its first public preview in the film's main theatrical trailer, released on September 29, 2025, where it accompanied several action sequences and introduced audiences to many of the sequel's new characters and locations. Following its enthusiastic reception, Zoo was released worldwide as the film's lead promotional single on October 10, 2025, several weeks ahead of the theatrical premiere. The single was praised for blending Shakira's distinctive vocal style with Ed Sheeran's melodic songwriting and Blake Slatkin's contemporary pop production, while its lyrics reinforced the film's central themes of inclusion, friendship, and embracing differences. Within the film itself, the song is performed by Gazelle during the spectacular Zootopia Gala celebration, becoming one of the sequel's musical highlights and accompanying one of its largest animated performance sequences. The film's orchestral score was composed by Michael Giacchino, who returned after composing the acclaimed music for the original Zootopia, 2016. Disney officially confirmed Giacchino's return on June 16, 2025. Reuniting the sequel with one of its most recognizable creative contributors. For Zootopia 2, Giacchino expanded upon the musical language established in the first film while introducing numerous new thematic motifs to represent the hidden reptilian community, the mysterious conspiracy surrounding the Linksley family, and the evolving emotional relationships between Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. His score combines sweeping symphonic orchestration with jazz, electronic textures, percussion, and world music influences to reflect the increasingly diverse environments explored throughout the sequel, including Marsh Market, Reptile Ravine, and the city's elaborate weather wall system. Alongside the film's action and mystery sequences, Giacchino composed several emotionally driven cues that underscore Judy and Nick's personal struggles, reconciliation, and the historical revelations surrounding Gary DeSnake and Agnes DeSnake. The complete motion picture soundtrack, featuring both Giacchino's original score and the film's songs including Shakira's Zoo, was released by Walt Disney Records on November 21, 2025, 5 days before the film's theatrical debut, receiving praise for successfully balancing memorable orchestral themes with contemporary pop music and further enriching the cinematic world of Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2 held its world premiere on November 13, 2025, at the historic El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. The premiere served as the film's official debut and was attended by members of the voice cast, filmmakers, Walt Disney Animation Studios executives, industry guests, members of the press, and invited fans. The event featured a red carpet celebration showcasing many of the film's principal stars, including Ginnifer Goodwin, Jason Bateman, Huey Kwan, Shakira, Fortune Feimster, Andy Samberg, David Strathairn, Patrick Warburton, Quinta Brunson, Danny Trejo, and other members of the ensemble cast, alongside directors Jared Bush and Byron Howard and producer Whit Marino. The premiere also highlighted the film's musical elements, including Gazelle's new song Zoo, while celebrating the return of the beloved franchise nearly a decade after the original Zootopia debuted. Early reactions from attendees and critics praised the film's ambitious world-building, emotional storytelling, sophisticated humor, expanded mythology, and visually stunning animation, generating strong anticipation ahead of its worldwide theatrical rollout. Following its Hollywood premiere, Zootopia 2 was released theatrically in the United States by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures on November 26, 2025, coinciding with the lucrative Thanksgiving holiday frame. The sequel was simultaneously released in numerous international markets, where it was distributed under the title Zootropolis 2 in territories that had adopted the alternate title for the original film. The film was presented in multiple premium exhibition formats, including IMAX, Dolby Cinema, RAL 3D, 4DX, ScreenX, and standard digital screenings, allowing audiences to experience its large-scale action sequences, expansive cityscapes, and richly detailed animation across a variety of theatrical formats. Disney supported the release with one of the studio's largest global marketing campaigns of the year, featuring teaser trailers, full theatrical trailers, television commercials, outdoor advertising, promotional partnerships, merchandise, soundtrack releases, social media campaigns, and international press tours involving the filmmakers and principal cast. The film's release marked Walt Disney Animation Studios' return to the world of Zootopia nearly 10 years after the original film's debut, and it quickly became one of the studio's biggest theatrical launches, opening to strong audience turnout, widespread critical acclaim, and exceptional box office performance around the world. Disney launched an extensive global marketing campaign for Zootopia 2 throughout 2025, promoting the sequel through experiential events, international brand partnerships, retail collaborations, transportation tie-ins, and exclusive merchandise designed to celebrate the return of the acclaimed franchise. As part of the film's promotional activities in November 2025, Walt Disney Studios organized a widely publicized publicity stunt in Los Angeles featuring 3 life-sized remote-controlled vehicles carrying highly detailed animatronic versions of several of the film's most recognizable characters. One vehicle featured Judy Hopps, Nick Wilde, and newcomer Gary the Snake riding together in a customized purple police-style car, while a second recreated Phoenix's iconic brown van from the original film. A third vehicle showcased Flash Slothmore driving a sleek sports car through city streets. The interactive display traveled through several high-profile locations across Los Angeles, where pedestrians and fans were able to watch the characters move, interact, wave, and pose for photographs. Videos of the promotional event quickly spread across social media platforms, generating millions of views and receiving widespread praise for its creativity, lifelike animatronics, and faithful recreation of the film's characters, making it one of Disney's most successful experiential marketing campaigns for an animated feature. To further strengthen the film's international presence, Disney partnered with South Korean K-pop group Stray Kids for a limited-time promotional collaboration. Between November 25 and December 7, 2025, an official Zootopia 2 Stray Kids pop-up store operated in Seoul, South Korea, attracting large numbers of fans from both the film and the music group. The venue featured exclusive merchandise available only during the collaboration, including apparel, collectible goods, character-themed accessories, photo zones, interactive displays, and limited-edition products inspired by both Zootopia 2 and Stray Kids. The pop-up became one of the film's most successful overseas promotional events, drawing significant media attention and long visitor queues throughout its 2-week operation. Disney also collaborated with several international airlines to promote the film through specially designed aircraft liveries. China Eastern Airlines transformed one of its Airbus A320-200 aircraft with colorful Zootopia 2 themed artwork featuring Judy Hopps, Nick Wilde, Gary the Snake, and other principal characters. China Airlines introduced a specially painted Boeing 777-300ER, while Air Canada unveiled a custom Airbus A220-300 carrying large promotional graphics inspired by the sequel. In addition to the exterior artwork, selected promotional flights featured themed cabin decorations, commemorative boarding materials, exclusive souvenirs, and in-flight promotional content highlighting the film, allowing passengers to experience the Zootopia 2 branding throughout their journey. These aviation partnerships help increase the film's visibility across major international travel markets during its theatrical release. Throughout the latter months of 2025, Disney further expanded the film's global promotional campaign through numerous retail partnerships and merchandising initiatives. Among the most prominent collaborations was a worldwide partnership with lifestyle retailer Miniso, which launched the traveling Zootopia 2-themed pop-up tour across multiple countries and regions. Participating stores were transformed with large-scale character displays, themed decorations, and interactive shopping experiences celebrating the film. The collaboration introduced an extensive collection of officially licensed merchandise, including plush toys of Judy Hopps, Nick Wilde, Gary the Snake, and other characters, collectible figurines, stationery sets, bags, drinkware, home accessories, keychains, apparel, phone accessories, and exclusive blind box collectibles designed specifically for the promotion. Many products were available only for a limited time, encouraging collectors and fans to visit multiple locations. Combined with Disney's traditional advertising campaign including theatrical trailers, television commercials, digital marketing, social media promotions, soundtrack releases, and cast appearances. The extensive network of promotional partnerships significantly contributed to the film's strong public awareness and helped establish Zootopia 2 as one of Disney's largest and most comprehensive worldwide marketing campaigns for an animated feature. Following its successful theatrical run, Zootopia 2 was released across multiple home entertainment formats by Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment, allowing audiences to experience the film both digitally and through physical media. The sequel first became available for digital HD purchase and rental on January 27, 2026, through major digital platforms, including Apple TV, Prime Video, Fandango at Home, Google TV, and other participating digital retailers. The digital release included the feature film in high definition and 4K Ultra HD were supported, along with an extensive collection of bonus content. These special features included filmmaker audio commentary from directors Jared Bush and Byron Howard, behind-the-scenes documentaries exploring the film's production and animation, featurettes focusing on the expanded world-building of Zootopia, the creation of the hidden reptilian community, the development of new characters such as Gary the Snake and Nibbles Maplestick, interviews with the cast and creative team, deleted and extended scenes, early storyboard presentations, animation progression reels, and a look at the recording sessions for the voice cast. The digital edition also featured the complete music video for Gazelle's original song Zoo, performed by Shakira, as well as additional promotional material and concept artwork. The film was subsequently released on Blu-ray, Ultra HD Blu-ray, 4K UHD, and DVD on March 3, 2026. The physical editions featured high-definition video presentations with Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision support on compatible Ultra HD Blu-ray releases, together with collectible packaging and the same comprehensive selection of bonus features available on the digital edition. Certain retailers also offered exclusive limited edition versions containing collectible slipcovers, character artwork, commemorative packaging, and bonus merchandise inspired by the film. The home video release received positive reviews from critics and collectors for its exceptional picture quality, immersive audio presentation, an extensive collection of supplemental features that provided an in-depth look at the making of the sequel. After completing its premium home entertainment window, Zootopia 2 began streaming exclusively on Disney Plus on March 11, 2026, making the film available to subscribers worldwide in territories where the service operates. The streaming release included support for 4K Ultra HD, HDR, Dolby Vision, and Dolby Atmos on compatible devices, enabling viewers to experience the film with the highest available audio-visual quality. Its arrival on Disney Plus introduced the sequel to an even broader global audience and further expanded the Zootopia franchise's presence on the platform, joining the original 2016 film, the animated anthology series Zootopia Plus, and other related Disney animation content. The streaming debut was accompanied by renewed promotion across Disney's digital platforms and contributed to the film's continued popularity well beyond its theatrical and home video releases. Zootopia 2 emerged as one of the most commercially successful films of 2025 and one of the highest-grossing animated films in cinematic history. During its theatrical run, the film grossed $428.1 million in the United States and Canada and $1.442 billion in international markets, for a worldwide total of $1.870 billion. The sequel significantly surpassed the worldwide earnings of the original Zootopia, 2016, and concluded its run as the second highest-grossing film of 2025. Behind Nis 2. It also became the second highest-grossing animated film of all time, surpassed only by Nis 2, while simultaneously finishing as the ninth highest-grossing film in worldwide box office history. The film's exceptional performance reflected its broad international appeal, particularly in Asia, Europe, and North America, where audiences responded positively to its blend of mystery, comedy, emotional storytelling, and expanded world-building. In North America, Zootopia 2 was released during the highly competitive Thanksgiving holiday quarter on November 26, 2025, and delivered one of the strongest openings ever recorded for an animated feature. Across its first 5 days of release, the film earned $158.8 million in the United States and Canada, benefiting from strong family attendance, positive critical reviews, and enthusiastic audience word of mouth. The debut ranked among the largest Thanksgiving openings in box office history and represented one of Walt Disney Animation Studios' strongest domestic launches. Internationally, the sequel performed even more impressively, helping the film achieve a staggering $560.3 million worldwide during its opening weekend. This represented the largest global opening ever achieved by an animated film at the time of its release and the fourth largest worldwide opening weekend for any film, demonstrating the continued popularity of the Zootopia franchise nearly a decade after the original film premiered. Among international markets, China proved to be the film's strongest territory. The sequel generated an extraordinary $271.6 million during its opening weekend alone, establishing itself as one of the most successful Hollywood releases ever in the Chinese market. On Saturday, November 29, 2025, the film became the first Hollywood production in history to surpass $100 million in a single day at the Chinese box office, setting a significant industry milestone and underscoring the franchise's exceptional popularity among Chinese audiences. Strong audience reception, repeat viewings, and sustained holiday attendance allowed the film to remain a dominant performer for several weeks, contributing substantially to its worldwide earnings. The film continued breaking commercial milestones throughout its theatrical run. On December 12, 2025, only 17 days after its worldwide theatrical release, Zootopia 2 surpassed $1 billion at the global box office, becoming one of the fastest animated films ever to reach the billion-dollar milestone. The achievement reinforced the film's remarkable momentum across both domestic and international markets, with particularly strong performances throughout Asia, Europe, Latin America, and Oceania. In Japan, where the original Zootopia had enjoyed enduring popularity, the sequel demonstrated exceptional staying power. By April 2, 2026, it had earned more than $15.7 billion, approximately $143.05 million, making it one of the country's highest-grossing animated imports and one of Disney's most successful releases in the Japanese market. Combined with its sustained performance across numerous territories, these achievements cemented Zootopia 2 as one of Walt Disney Animation Studios' most profitable productions and one of the defining global box office successes of the decade. Here's a rewritten and substantially expanded critical response section in a polished, encyclopedic paragraph format. Zootopia 2 received widespread critical acclaim upon its theatrical release, with reviewers praising its ambitious world-building, visually stunning animation, engaging mystery, emotional storytelling, sophisticated humor, and the continued chemistry between Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Many critics considered the sequel a worthy continuation of the original film, commending its ability to expand the universe of Zootopia while preserving the social commentary, heartfelt character development, and detective narrative that had made its predecessor a critical and commercial success. Although some reviewers believe the sequel closely followed the structure of the original film and lacked some of its freshness, the overall critical consensus recognized Zootopia 2 as one of Walt Disney Animation Studios' strongest sequel efforts in recent years. On the review aggregation website Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 92% based on 226 professional reviews, with an average rating of 7.5 out of 10. The site's critical consensus states, cleverly laying a thoughtful message onto another crackerjack caper while solidifying Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde as one of the most endearing buddy pairings in ages. Zootopia 2 more than justifies a return trip to the big city. On Metacritic, which calculates a weighted average based on selected critical reviews, the film received a score of 73 out of 100 from 39 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audience reception was equally enthusiastic. Moviegoers surveyed by CinemaScore awarded the film a rare A grade on an A+ to F scale, matching the audience score earned by the original Zootopia, 2016. Meanwhile, Audiences polled by PostTrack gave the sequel an 87% overall positive rating, with 65% of respondents stating that they would definitely recommend the film to others, reflecting strong word of mouth throughout its theatrical run. Among the most enthusiastic reviews, Nell Minogue of RogerRabbit.com awarded the film the maximum 4 out of 4 stars, describing Zootopia 2 as pure delight and praising it as every bit as exciting, imaginative, heartfelt, and perhaps even funnier than the Academy Award-winning original. Frank Sheck of The Hollywood Reporter similarly commended the sequel, writing that it was more than worth the lengthy wait and applauding its dazzling animation, sophisticated comedy, engaging action sequences, and genuine emotional depth. Clint Gage of IGN praised the film's ability to combine entertaining detective storytelling with meaningful social commentary, noting that beneath its humorous surface lay thoughtful themes concerning prejudice, history, institutional corruption, and social responsibility. Ed Potton of The Times awarded the film 4 out of 5 stars, highlighting its memorable supporting cast and expressing particular appreciation for the return of fan-favorite characters such as Flash Slothmore and Mr. Big, whose performances continued to provide much of the franchise's signature humor. Several critics regarded the sequel as one of Disney's strongest animated releases in recent years. B.J. Colangelo of Slash Film described Zootopia 2 as one of the studio's finest productions in years, arguing that Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde had firmly established themselves as one of Disney's greatest animated partnerships. Colangelo further praised the film's willingness to encourage younger audiences to question authority, challenge unjust systems, and stand up for what is morally right, emphasizing that these themes gave the sequel relevance beyond its family-friendly adventure. Quinn D'Alessio of The Main Campus also responded positively, praising the evolving relationships between Judy and Nick as the emotional heart of the film while highlighting the successful introductions of new characters Gary D. Snake and Nibbles Maplestick. Although D'Alessio ultimately considered the sequel slightly less impactful than its predecessor, the review nevertheless concluded that it remained an entertaining and emotionally satisfying continuation of the franchise. Despite the overwhelmingly positive reception, some critics expressed reservations about certain aspects of the film. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian awarded Zootopia 2 out of 5 stars, criticizing what he perceived as an overly formulaic narrative and arguing that the sequel lacked the emotional sincerity and originality that distinguished the first film. Bradshaw characterized the film as a corporate product driven more by franchise expectations than artistic inspiration. Jake Coyle of the Associated Press offered a mixed assessment, acknowledging that the sequel retained much of the original's entertaining detective adventure spirit but arguing that its expanded focus on new settings diminished the unique atmosphere of Zootopia itself. Coyle suggested that the demands of franchise continuation somewhat restrained the creative freedom that had made the first film so distinctive. Similarly, Soren Anderson of the Seattle Times criticized the film's fast-paced presentation, contending that its relentless action, energetic tone, and constant spectacle occasionally became overwhelming and distracted from quieter character moments. Carolyn Said of the AV Club praised the film's continued expansion of Zootopia's richly imagined world but felt that the overall plot relied too heavily on familiar story beats established by the original film. Said argued that the sequel occasionally resembled an extended streaming television adventure rather than the grand theatrical experience expected from a Walt Disney Animation Studios feature. Although reviewers differed on whether Zootopia 2 surpassed the original, the overwhelming critical consensus praised its technical achievements, ambitious expansion of the franchise's mythology, emotionally resonant themes, and the enduring partnerships between Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. The film's combination of humor, mystery, action, and social commentary, together with its widespread audience approval and strong critical reception, established it as one of the most acclaimed animated films of 2025 and reaffirmed the Zootopia franchise as one of Walt Disney Animation Studios' most successful modern properties. Review 1 Donald Trump may be attempting to resurrect the long-defunct Rush Hour franchise, but there's no need. The best buddy cop movie in the end has arrived in the form of Zootopia 2. The sequel to 2016's smash hit Oscar-winning animated film proves more than worth the lengthy wait, knocking it out of the park with its dazzling visuals, sophisticated humor and doses of genuine emotion. As the film begins, Robert Judy Hopps, Ginnifer Goodwin, and Fox Nick Wilde, Jason Bateman, are newly partnered on the police force overseen by the intimidating Cape Buffalo Chief Bogo, Idris Elba. Despite their previous success, things aren't going smoothly for the pair, who are ordered to attend a Partners in Crisis workshop led by, what else, a therapy animal, Quinta Brunson. Release date, Wednesday, November 26. Cast, Ginnifer Goodwin, Jason Bateman, Huey Kwan, Fortune Feimster, Andy Samberg, David Strathairn, Idris Elba, Shakira, Patrick Warburton, Quinta Brunson, Nate Torrance, Alan Tudyk, Bonnie Hunt, Don Lake, Jean Reno. Directors, Jared Bush, Byron Howard. Screenwriter, Jared Bush. Rated PG, 1 hour 48 minutes. When clues emerge about the possible presence of an interloping snake in town, Judy and Nick, amusingly dressed to the nines, infiltrate the Zootopia gala hosted by a family of lynxes descended from the city's founder. They discover the presence of Gary the Snake, Huey Kwan, whose terrific vocal turn can only be described as soulful, who turns out to be not the villain he initially appears. In a convoluted series of events, the rookie cops find themselves the target of a police manhunt while they attempt to find Gary, who is intent on restoring the reputation of both his family and reptiles in general. But really, the plot is just an excuse for a series of uproarious episodes featuring delightful animal characters both old and new. Among the latter is ravenous Beaver Nibbles Maplestick, Fortune Feimster, hilarious, who turns out to be a key ally, and pompous canoe Mayor Brian Windonser, Patrick Warburton, a stallion who used to be an actor. While no individual scene matches the brilliance of the previous film's classic sequence featuring a sloth DMV clerk, his name is Flash, and he does make a welcome if brief appearance here as an incongruously very fast driver. A Zootopia 2 features one hysterical gag after another, beautifully orchestrated by co-directors Jared Bush and Byron Howard. A particularly funny scene involves a walrus boat, while another revolves around a Burning Man-type festival. The attention to amusing detail is evident throughout, from the vainglorious mayor's ample display of chest fur to the very long wintry outfit Gary the Snake wears in snowy conditions. Like many contemporary animated films, there are plenty of pop culture references, but the ones here are actually funny, even if they'll go over the heads of younger audience members, such as a chase scene set in a hedge maze just like the one in The Shining. Co-director Bush, who authored the screenplay, deserves much credit not only for all the witty humor but also the fact that he didn't require a massive team of co-writers. The sequel features so many animal characters and environments that multiple viewings will be necessary to take them all in. The gags fly faster and furious, making no concession to short attention spans, and as far as keeping up with all the voice talents, forget it. This is practically the It's a Mad world of animated films, with vocal contributions from Andy Samberg, David Strathairn, Jean Reno, Macaulay Culkin, Jenny Slate, Tommy Chong, John Leguizamo, June Squibb, Josh Gad, Dwayne Johnson, and many, many others too numerous to mention. There are plenty of insider jokes in the casting, from poet Amanda Gorman as a giraffe reporter to Disney head honcho Bob Iger as weatherman Bob Tiger to Michael J. Fox in a very brief turn as a Fox prison inmate. You won't even recognize many of the voices, but you can imagine the fun the creators had. And Shakira returns as the pop star Gazelle, delivering a hips-shaking rendition of the potential pop hit Zoo, with Ed Sheeran among its writers. Of course, the singer voices one of the characters as well. Goodwin and Bateman are perfection as Judy and Nick, whose increasingly affectionate relationship forms the heart of the film despite the fact that Nick steadfastly maintains that foxes are solitary animals. Their dynamic is both touching and funny, with things definitely heading in a romantic direction in the inevitable next installment teased in the mid-credits scene. Let's hope it doesn't take another decade for it to arrive. Before its 2016 release, I would never have dreamed that Disney's anthropomorphic buddy cop comedy Zootopia could deliver such a salient message about the evils of prejudice, using the differences between animal species, including the predator-prey divide, Zootopia addressed heady topics tied to bigotry and implicit bias, like stereotypes and microaggressions. As the first rabbit in the Zootopia Police Department, Judy Hopps, voiced by Jennifer Goodwin, gets up close and personal with the frustrations of tokenism. Meanwhile, her eventual ally Nick Wilde, voiced by Jason Bateman, has been discriminated against all his life due simply to being a fox. As an allegory, Zootopia doesn't offer a perfect one-to-one take on racism, yet its take on these issues still proved timely and bold, especially for a big-budget Disney animated film. And yes, my surprise that Zootopia could pull this off does speak to me succumbing to film-based stereotypes myself, so my main question heading into Zootopia 2 was, could co-directors Jared Bush and Byron Howard pull off the same magic trick again? Could they deepen the conversation they started in Zootopia? The answer is both yes and number. Like its predecessor, Zootopia 2 is a bubbly, fun mystery, complete with more of Hopps and Wilde's irresistible dynamic and so many animal puns. It also tackles new, insidious ways in which discrimination affects people's experiences, this time focusing on how it's knit into the very fabric of Zootopia itself. That it does so in broader strokes doesn't detract from Zootopia 2's admirable ambition, even if the film often treads the same ground as the original. What is Zootopia 2 about? After they foiled a major conspiracy in Zootopia, Judy and Nick are heroes of the city, and partners in the ZPD. Yet their current reality isn't as rewarding as the highly ambitious Judy would want. The two aren't landing big cases, and when their opportunity at a big bust goes disastrously awry, she and Nick wind up in timeout, also known as the ZPD's Partners Therapy Program. After all, one big solve together can't erase Judy's often overbearing quest for validation, or Nick's emotional insecurity masked as copyright coolness. Zootopia 2 strains Nick and Judy's relationship even further when the two wind up on the run. The reason? Their accidental involvement with pit viper Gary the Snake, voiced by Academy Award winner Huey Kwan, who's stolen an old journal from the powerful Linksley family. The Linksleys are descended from one of Zootopia's founders, and they want Gary, and everyone tied to him, dead. For Nick, that's reason enough to back out of the case, but Judy is hell-bent on helping Gary and, by extension, all reptile kind in Zootopia. Zootopia 2 uses reptiles to address discriminatory urban planning. When I say, all reptile kind in Zootopia, you might be a bit confused. After all, there were only mammals in the first film, right? Right. With that in mind, Zootopia 2 spends much of its time asking, why aren't there more reptiles in the city for animals? The answer isn't pretty. Turns out, there's a whole neighborhood for Zootopia's secret reptile population, along with aquatic and semi-aquatic mammals. Named Marsh Market, it was cut off from the rest of Zootopia during the city's founding. According to beaver conspiracy theorist Nibbles Maplestick, voiced by Fortune Feimster, that separation means Marsh Market's inhabitants have more independence, but it also means they're further removed from the rest of the city, which takes a disdainful look toward reptiles. The separation calls to mind segregated neighborhoods created by racist urban planning. If you've ever wondered whether Zootopia had its own version of New York City's Robert Moses, the answer is yes. Zootopia 2's Moses stand-in is Milton Linksley, voiced by David Strathairn, a major power player in Zootopia. He hopes to expand Zootopia's Tundra Town district, a move that sounds like gentrification at best, which still isn't great, and the rapid annihilation of entire Zootopian communities at worst. Zootopia 2's focus on discriminatory urban planning is a welcome evolution of Zootopia's initial looks at prejudice. The original film highlights how discrimination manifests in bureaucracy, as well as inter-animal relations. Zootopia 2 goes a step farther to show that discrimination is baked into urban areas, turning its charming animal metropolis into something darker. One plot point involving a lost reptile neighborhood truly had me wondering if Zootopia 2's creators were at all influenced by the history of settlements like New York City's Seneca Village, a community of primarily black landowners that was displaced to make way for the construction of Central Park. Of course, Zootopia 2 doesn't dive too deep into the nitty-gritty of the city's segregation. It's not like Judy Hopps suddenly learns about redlining. Instead, the film opts for a more standard adventure plot involving new allies, bold plans, and yet another gazelle, voiced by Shakira. Banger. Still, as familiar as Zootopia 2 feels, there's no denying its more subversive core. Yes, the film is loudest in its more conventional messaging about embracing our differences. Case in point, the partnerships between polar opposites Judy and Nick. But it's when it tackles complicated, ugly truths about discrimination that the Zootopia franchise sets itself further apart from its Disney compatriots. 9 years is a lifetime for foxes and hares, but it's also the ideal space between installments in a thoughtful animated franchise. See Inside Out 2. Back in 2016, Disney's wildly popular Zootopia showed vulnerable species trying to get along with those that might normally attempt to eat them. Now, the Toon Studio's well-crafted follow-up focuses on a different kind of predator, greedy land grabbers. To say more might spoil the mystery, and that would be a shame, as it's one of the things that makes Zootopia 2 such a worthy successor. Both that film and its horizon-extending sequel plug anthropomorphic characters of all shapes, sizes and speeds. The sloth is back, into classic Chinatown-style detective stories, populating adult-caliber plots with appealing, kid-friendly critters, formally partnering unlikely heroes Judy Hopps, a rabbit rookie, anxiously voiced by Ginnifer Goodwin, and Nick Wilde. The smooth-talking con artist Jason Bateman plays with foxy nonchalance. Zootopia 2 is more of a Bunny a Broken Bar buddy movie than its predecessor. Chief Bogo, Idris Elba, the gruff Cape Buffalo in charge, had skeptically embraced the idea of keeping these anything-but uniformed police officers on a team dominated by rhinos, razorbacks and other alpha species. But all it takes is one big mistake to land a pair on probation. Behind the scenes, another reunion is taking place, this one between Zootopia co-directors Byron Howard and Jared Bush, who was promoted to Chief Creative Officer of Walt Disney Animation Studios last year. Having shepherded the first movie, the two Disney vets know the world with its 4 central quadrants: Savannah Central, Sahara Square, the Rainforest District and Tundra Town, and many uncharted corners better than anyone. Lest one forget, in this animal haven, high-tech climate walls make it possible for polar bears and desert hippos to inhabit adjacent districts. But such utopian intentions don't mean that different species necessarily click, as Nick and Judy demonstrate. Being a loner by nature, he doesn't care, whereas she cares far too much, which makes them poorly matched compadres. Amusingly illustrated by the partners in crisis therapy session Bogo obliges them to attend early on. Where Zootopia was about these two learning to trust one another, its sequel concerns the trickier goal of mutual respect. That may not sound as promising, though Bush, to whom the screenplay is credited, approaches Nick and Judy's dysfunctional partnership as if they were newlyweds still adjusting to one another's idiosyncrasies, a rich recipe for constant screwball disputes. These movies are comedies first and crime film homages second, but it's their tertiary value as social commentary that makes the franchise so indispensable. Behind the laughs are teachable moments. As for those indispensable climate walls, it's revealed that the original patent was filed by the wealthy Linksley clan, elegant felines who look like they stepped straight out of Succession, and voiced by the likes of David Strathairn, Macaulay Culkin and Andy Samberg. The latter plays Runt of the Litter Pobbert, a Linksley family relic will soon go on display at an Arctic fundraiser, and quick study Judy who's the only one here doing actual detective work believes someone with scales is planning to steal it. She's not wrong. The film's most endearing addition is Gary the Snake, Huey Kwan, a goofy blue pit viper with a faint lisp and super-fast lasso skills, which come in handy for a creature without hands. Before Gary crashes the party, the gala seems as good a place as any to unleash a new Shakira song, Zoo, performed by the pop star's glamorous alter ego, Gazelle. The subsequent heist sets the bar high in a film that seldom slows down, swooping through herds of characters in elaborate locations to pull off increasingly complicated set pieces. Technologically speaking, many of these sequences simply wouldn't have been possible 9 years ago. Packed with detail, the crowd scenes are so rich, it will take repeat viewings to spot even half the jokes. Meanwhile, The chase through Marsh Market ranks among the most complicated sequences Disney animation has ever pulled off, cramming puns and pop culture nods into every frame. From a Ratatouille reference to a DVD pirate selling furry takes on Disney titles, Howard and Bush steer us through all new neighborhoods, providing fresh insights into oft-stereotyped critters along the way, tortoises, lizards and venomous snakes in particular. This poses a challenge, since the Zootopia ensemble was already fairly robust, how to work in fan favorites while still leaving room for original characters. The Godfather-like Arctic shrew Mr. Big is back, as is Flash, the Sloth, both ready to help at just the right moment. In addition to attention-hagging equine Mayor Wyndon Sir Patrick Warburton, there are also Swiss-sounding mountain goats. The two directors supply their exaggerated German accents, and a podcasting beaver named Nibbles Maplestick, the always funny fortune fimester, whose taste for dry wit is surpassed only by her appetite for a juicy conspiracy. With the Zootopia movies, there's seldom any doubt that while Nick and Judy have our attention, life is teeming just out of frame, which naturally suggests an infinite number of stories might be told in Zootopia's seemingly incompatible zones. Although the nuances may have changed, the franchise's message remains one of peaceful coexistence. That challenge, as any child can tell you, applies every bit as strongly to humans as it does to the animals who struggle so mightily to get along in these movies. Reptiles are people too, goes the sequel's anti-discriminatory takeaway. Fish and fowl are still largely absent, which gives this Disney franchise room to grow. It's a small world, after all. But if there was any mystery to whether the creative team could sustain Zootopia's charms, Nick and Judy have effectively put our minds to rest. Reviewed at Samuel Goldwyn Theater, Los Angeles, November 15, 2025. MPA rating, PG. Running time, 108 minutes. 9 years ago, Zootopia became yet another breakaway hit for Walt Disney Animation Studios as their signature animation style brought to life this incredibly wonderful and vivid world of anthropomorphic animals, using both comedy and accessible drama to explore themes like societal inclusiveness and acceptance. And after the success, it was inevitable that a sequel would emerge. But also in classic Disney fashion, these things are rarely rushed as the creators wait until they feel like they have the right story to tell. Unfortunately for Zootopia 2, 9 years may not have been enough time. The story picks up not long after the events of the first film, even featuring a small recap of the final moments of Zootopia to catch everyone up to speed, where the overly optimistic and go-getting rabbit Judy Hopps, Jennifer Goodwin, and the sly con artist turned good fox Nick Wilde, Jason Bateman, are now rookie cops at the Zootopia Police Department, looking for their first big case to crack. But, as their first attempt to chase down the bad guys leads to an disastrously expensive outcome, leaving everyone in Zootopia to doubt the capabilities, it also leads Hopps and Wilde down the investigative trail of the rare, 100-year-old journal made by the creator of Zootopia that they believe is going to be stolen by a viper, despite the fact that snakes have not been seen in Zootopia since its formation. As to be expected from Walt Disney Animation Studios, the animation is truly fantastic. From the character designs of each animal, whether they are front and center like Hopps and Wilde or just in the background, to the expansive and intricate world of Zootopia, it's impossible to not be completely immersed in this fantastical, colorful world on the screen. What especially stands out in the action set pieces is how the direction and the way the audience is transported around the space is so energetic and exciting. Even though there has almost been a full decade since the original, the animation balances well, feeling like the same world that enveloped audiences back in 2016. But also feels evolved and updated with a 2025 sharpness. The voice cast is also once again superb, with Goodwin and Bateman not missing a beat, returning to their roles as Hopps and Wilde, respectively. The endless enthusiasm and upbeat optimism oozes through Goodwin's energetic performance, and Bateman's dry sense of humor and effortlessly cool demeanor works perfectly. Also returning highlights are Idris Elba and Patrick Warburton, who bring the laughs every time their characters are on screen. As part of the new cast, Huey Kwan plays the elusive Viper, Gary the Snake, bringing his natural warmth as the story investigates the true motives and intentions behind his plot to steal the journal. Andy Samberg gets to flex a more nuanced and passive performance as a Canadian Lynx descendant of the family who created Zootopia, and is struggling with not living up to his familial expectations. And finally, comedian Fortune Feimster brings a lot of laughs as a conspiracy theorist podcasting beaver who joins Hops and Wild on their adventure. Despite the vivid animation and brilliant voice performances, unfortunately Zootopia 2 has too much of a same, but different approach to its narrative. Once again, the story explores how a societal divide caused by a corrupt leadership led to the removal of an entire species of animal. And this sequel's biggest issue isn't that it's a slight rehash of the same themes of the first film, it's that it's explored in a far less interesting and paper-thin way compared to the amazing way it was all handled in the first film. The emotion and sincerity feels almost non-existent this time around, with a convoluted plot full of too many characters doing not enough to keep the plot interesting. Even at only 108 minutes, the film plodded along at a sloth-like pace. Unfortunately, the slower pacing and surface-level story also work against the general enjoyment overall. A lot of the jokes miss more than they hit, with most of the film's genuine laughs coming from the random background gags that feature heavily in these kinds of films. If this was a more standard, run-of-the-mill family flick affair, the film's faults may have slipped under the radar a little more. But, because it's the sequel to a truly fantastic film from a company whose quality is much higher, it's notably underwhelming. 5TL Dr. A Zootopia 2 captures what made the first film such a joy. Full of energy, full of chaos, and full of delight. But it is also asking the important questions. Post-credit scene. There is a maiden post-credit scene. Disclosure. I was invited to a press screening of this film, Zootopia 2 review. Introduction. There were several thought processes that happened when I started writing this review. The first was discovering that the original Zootopia came out 9 years ago, and also that is how long I have been writing reviews for this site. It was an odd moment of reflection, but also a profound look at one of the issues of modern Hollywood, in that it takes forever in between iterations. Well, let's dive in and see if one of the most stacked cast lists this year can make up for all that time. So, to set the scene, things have been going well in Zootopia, or Zootropolis, depending on where you live, since the incident that brought partners Judy Hopps, Ginnifer Goodwin, and Nick Wilde, Jason Bateman, when now former Deputy Mayor Don Bellwether, Jenny Slate, tried to start a war between the herbivore and carnivore members of the Mammal City. After a mission goes wrong, Hopps and Wilde are sent to therapy with Dr. Fuzby, Quinta Brunson, which is make or break to see if they can continue being partners in the ZPD. But while the mission might have been a bust, some clues, like some scales, show that there may be more than just mammals in the city of Zootopia. And with the Zootennial Gala coming up, is someone about to strike at the heart of the city? Voice cast. I can honestly say that this is one of the most stacked voice casts that I have seen in a long time. Nearly everyone from the first film is back, and it was always a delight to see them be so comfortable being back in the saddle. Ginnifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman have such fantastic chemistry together, and you can feel that in every part of the film. So much of the vibes and the main narrative is based on their relationship, and it works. They are the heart of the film and the reason that I am sure people would watch a bunch more films in this universe. This time around, we also see a significantly larger cast, all the way down from key players to so many fascinating cameos. Huey Kwan is, of course, a delight and was the perfect choice for bringing a snake into this world. Completely charming, but also profoundly compelling. When you hire David Strathairn to be your big bad in your film, you know you have gotten gold, because that man brings the vibe of a perfect villain. There are many shades of villainy, and he captures all of them. Oh, of course, Patrick Warburton as a horse mayor is phenomenal casting, as was the joy of watching Fortune Feimster, Andy Samberg, Idris Elba, and Quinta Brunson chew on all of the furniture. For Fortune Feimster, I also mean that literally. Narratively, the film is treading a lot of the same thematic ground as the first entry, with a slightly different shift in perspective. Thematically, it's all about how we are better working as a team, rather than being split apart. But they explore this through the lens of the mammal-reptile divide rather than the behavior-carnivore division in the first film. On the whole, I think it works. Now, don't get me wrong, it is very messy in places where they try to get this analogy to work in this universe, while still being a good example for kids to latch onto. While that messiness is there, I was impressed to see that they did tackle several complex issues during the runtime. We have, working together with our differences to find strengths, minorities being othered and victimized, and how capitalism can be used to disenfranchise people without political power and usurp fair applications of politics. Then, of course, we have the big exploration, which is on the predatory and harmful nature of colonialism, the trauma it leaves in its wake, and what it means to be a society built on the disenfranchisement of others. It was honestly surprising to see them tackle this in what was still a superficial way. However, when you look around the world today, you can see how some of what they are talking about would be relevant to those watching. Zootopia 2 was generally quite entertaining throughout, and I got more than a few full belly laughs out, especially around some of the many Disney Easter eggs scattered throughout, which does help make some of the more complex issues land a little bit better, though not every critical plot point needed a lizard running on water to land its point. Because Hobbs and Miles bring a lot of their baggage into the story, it has a remarkably emotional unpacking. While I found it affecting, some of the story elements just held it back from resonating with me on a deeper level. However, I would note from listening to those around me that there were more than a few teary eyes by the end. Structure. If there is something that holds it back a touch, it is the structure, or more so, the pacing around how the film is structured. There are several plot points that the film feels the need to keep revisiting, which does start to drag things a bit. You do feel that some characters are a bit slow on the uptake for plot reasons, rather than character. Some of the character tension between Hobbs and Wilde did feel a little forced indeed. A lot of the conflict outside of the central tension about the Linksley Journal feels a little manufactured, such as the police being a little too quick to turn on two of their own. But thankfully, it was not enough to derail the film for me. Recommendation. In the end, do we recommend Zootopia 2? Yes, we would. I honestly had a great time. I did walk into this screening with a bit of trepidation that maybe too much time had passed to link the two films together. However, I am glad to say that I shouldn't have worried. It was a delightful film, and can we not have to wait 9 years for the next one? Have you watched Zootopia 2? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. If you liked Zootopia 2, we would recommend Coco to you because it is also an animated film that has a real heart to it from start to finish, that is exploring pasts that might not be how people in the present remember them. By Brian McNamara. You can follow Brian on Bluesky at @Removerev. When he's not chatting about movies and TV, he'll be talking about international relations, or the solar system. Feel free to share this review on social media and check out all our past reviews and articles here, and have a happy day. Credits. All images were created by the cast, crew, and production companies of Zootopia 2, directed by A. Jared Bush. Byron Howard, written by A. Jared Bush, based on Zootopia by Byron Howard, Rich Moore, Jared Bush, Josie Trinidad, Jim Reardon, Phil Johnston, Jennifer Lee. Edited by A. Jeremy Milton. Music by A. Michael Giacchino. Production, distribution companies: A. Disney Animation, Walt Disney Pictures. Starring A. Jennifer Goodwin, Jason Bateman, Huey Kwan, Fortune Feimster, Andy Samberg, David Strathairn, Idris Elba, Shakira, Patrick Warburton, Kinta Brunson, Nate Torrance, Bonnie Hunt, Dawn Lake, Macaulay Culkin, Brenda Song, Morris LaMarche, Lee Latham, Cicely Strong, Raymond S. Percy, Mark Rhino Smith, Tommy Chong, Tommy Lister Jr., Michelle Gomez, David Fain, Jean Reno, Danny Trejo, John Leguizamo, Stephanie Beatriz, Wilmer Valderrama, Jenny Slate, Alan Udick, Josh Dallas, Peter Mansbridge, Yvette Nicole Brown, Josh Gad, June Squibb, Michael J. Fox, Rachel House, Mae Martin, Tig Notaro, Dwayne Johnson, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Ed Sheeran, Blake Slatkin, Robert Irwin, Mario Lopez, Ali I. Kravlo, Anna Kanani Rose, Nick DiGiovanni, Amanda Gorman. Rating: A. Australia, PG Canada, G Germany, 6 New Zealand, PG United Kingdom, PG United States, PG-13. 6. Zootopia 2 is 100 minutes long, but the actual conflict doesn't even start until an hour in. It's a poorly paced slog that disrespects the legacy of its predecessor. I entered this screening with managed expectations, given the erratic marketing campaign, yet nothing could have prepared me for the staggering level of incompetence on display. The result is a sequel to a modern classic that functions less as a film and more as a piece of corporate salvage, desperately trying to extract value from a brand that it doesn't understand. Nearly a decade ago, Walt Disney Animation Studios delivered a thoughtful, nuanced exploration of bias and infrastructure with the original Zootopia. That film felt alive. This sequel feels like a write-off. The plot, penned by Jared Bush, is a baffling exercise in narrative cannibalism. The original film explored the tension between predators and prey through a fresh, albeit heavy-handed, allegorical lens that addressed racism. Zootopia 2 introduces a snake named Gary, forcing the audience to revisit the same beats regarding reptiles, which serve as a narrative about gentrification. In this iteration, reptiles are the ostracized group, and the film spends its entire runtime proving they are actually decent citizens. It is astonishingly foolish to create a world as vast and diverse as this one only to remain trapped within the same thematic loop. This laziness infects the characters themselves. The film unites Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde, but their dynamic has curdled into something unrecognizable. They have been victims of severe flounderization. Judy treats Nick with a shocking lack of grace, constantly undermining him and snapping at his laid-back nature in a way that feels mean-spirited rather than playful. Nick, conversely, is stripped of his agency and given almost nothing to do. The writing hints at a character progression for Judy that ultimately reaches a hollow and unsatisfying conclusion, leaving the audience to wonder why we're rooting for this partnership at all. The screenplay treats the audience with utter contempt. In one particularly egregious scene, Nick and Judy verbally vomit their character flaws directly to the camera. Subtext is non-existent in Zootopia 2. The characters announce their internal conflicts as bullet points from a corporate memo. It assumes the viewer is incapable of understanding growth unless it is spelled out in bold text. The film attempts to buy goodwill with a cheeky homage to Ratatouille, among other inane references, which almost feels insulting, considering how that film treated children with patience and intelligence, two virtues the sequel completely lacks. The supporting cast creates a cacophony of annoyance. Gary, horribly voiced by Kiwi Kwan, is the nadir of the film. He serves as a mawkish, cloying plot device whose melodramatic pleas about saving his family are designed to tug at heartstrings but only induce eye rolls. A roster of insufferable caricatures joins him. Fortune Feimster plays a grating beaver, and Andy Samberg voices a desperate lynx whose rebellion against his wealthy parents is played at a pitch that is physically painful to endure. From a technical standpoint, the movie is a sensory nightmare. While the animation remains crisp, the pacing is frenetic and anxious. The editing chops scenes into a mix of random chatter and garbage noise, compounded by dozens of unrecognizable voice cameos from stars like Dwayne Johnson and Ed Sheeran. These cameos serve no purpose other than to clutter the soundscape. The humor is shockingly surface level, relying on fat animals yelling or bizarrely off-putting sexual innuendos that feel wildly out of place in this world. It's a real shame, because the film truly looks excellent. There are a few sequences where Bush gives us a glimpse into the broader world of Zootopia, from the expansive desert to the beautiful mountain vistas. These are the few moments where the film rises to the task of following its predecessor. These scenes make the repetitive nature of its script more egregious because it's clear that somewhere along the line, this film wanted to break free from its own limitations. To cap it all off, Disney forces a new track called Zoo upon us, written by Shakira and Ed Sheeran. It's a desperate, hollow attempt to recreate the catchiness of Try Everything, but the result is a forced and sonically awful song. It is emblematic of the movie's most significant issue. The film is terrified to stand on its own. We are forced to revisit every single character from the first movie, making the world feel incredibly small and insular. This constant need to loop back to the sloths and the shrews sends a depressing message. It suggests that the rich metropolis of Zootopia is creatively closed off, incapable of supporting new life outside its established inner circle. Is Zootopia 2 worth watching? As I left the theater, I overheard a child say, "So I think the next movie is going to be the same thing again." It's a devastating indictment when a child can recognize the cynical corporate loop that the chief creative officer of Disney Animation cannot. The post-credits scene, teasing a third film about birds, confirms the suspicion. That's a depressing thought. While billions are surely on the way for Disney in its quest to continue every one of its profitable stories, I worry that the greed of the studio will only make every product worse. A noisy and creatively bankrupt sequel, Zootopia 2 squanders the goodwill of the original by retelling the same story with worse characters and no subtext. Despite beautiful animation, the film is a headache-inducing mess of loud noises, unfunny jokes, and a desperate reliance on nostalgia.